Hello, 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 ciao, and welcome to Senior Bitches. My name is Mary Jo Eustace, and I am your host. And get ready, I'm a woman, I'm over 55, and apparently I'm a senior citizen. So we have a trifecta of bullshit going on right now, because apparently, according to society, there's an expiration date on me. I can no longer be fun or sexy or vital or relevant. And I think that people would just like us to leave the building and exit quietly. Well, I am challenging that conversation, and I want to change that conversation because I actually think this period of our life, 55 and over for women, is the most interesting period of our life going. And I'm going to actually even name it. I'm going to call it the curiosity landscape, the curiosity window. So if we look at this period in our lives, there's probably a few things going on. We could be married. We could be singled. We could be divorced. We could be hoeing it up, having a good time. We could be ending an old job. We could be starting a new job. We could be retiring. Chances are we're taking care of aged parents, and post-COVID, we're having our children come live with us again in our basements and riding us hard. And we have all this stuff going on. Now, when we were younger and there were more years ahead of us than behind us, we weren't really, I don't think, so aware of all the different vulnerabilities in life. I think we were kind of naive to it. But when we get to this point of 55 and over, it's a very bittersweet time in life, because I think we become very aware of our vulnerabilities, and we either turn the switch on or we turn the switch off. And I am in full mode engagement. Now, Mike and I talked about this for the inaugural podcast of Senior Bitches. About 3 or 4 months ago, I had a complete life explosion, implosion. Everything blew up, personally, professionally, romantically. Everything went completely south. So it was a huge, huge wake-up call for me. And as Oprah says, we have to own it. And I was really realizing that I was not owning my age. I am 60 years old. Oh God, okay, hold on. That took a lot to say it, but I'm 60 years old. I'm in my 7th decade of life. And for so long, I've not been owning my age. I've been kind of embarrassed about my age. Like when men ask me my age, I skirt around it like it's some horrible, horrible embarrassment to be carrying around on my back. And I have not actually been owning who I am, which sort of goes into my whole story. So I hightailed it out of Los Angeles at the beginning of the new year to go to Rome, where I didn't know anybody. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the city, and I wanted to put myself into the most beautiful, broken city in the world and dive super, super deep and reconnect to myself and find my voice and find myself. And I thought, what a better place to do it than in Rome. And that's where I had the good fortune of a friend of mine, Anne Marie, a remarkable woman who lives in Paris. And we've been trying to get together for a few years. We've actually known each other for 10 years. We met when I was dating a billionaire. And we went on a yacht. And I know that sounds super obnoxious and y'all probably want to barf about it, but that's how we met. And we were just kindred spirits because, first of all, we kept changing the playlist of the music because it was so Eurotrashy, we couldn't stand it. So we were always trying to change the music. And we would meet around the boat and go, we can order anything we want. Like we can do anything we want. They'll like launder one pair of socks. Like we were just having a wonderful time. And even though she was super accomplished and super beautiful, she was never intimidating. She was always, always warm. So the billionaire left the building, but we maintained our friendship for a decade. And she came to meet me in Rome. And there's a lot of living under the bridge. And we went for this wonderful lunch near Father of the Alterland and had fried artichokes and a ton of wine and discussed life, love, loss, and everything. And at one point in life, when we were talking about aging, she looked at me and said, "You're a senior citizen." And I was like, you're a senior citizen too. And she said, no, you're a senior citizen and you should own it. You need to flip this word on its head and you need to own this part of our aging. And she said, this is the most remarkable part of our life right now because we have to be engaged and we know there's a finite number on it. So our whole attitude has got to change. And it was actually an aha moment for me, not to quote Oprah, but when you said that to me, when you said you have to start owning who you are, it kind of changed everything for me moving forward. So I grazie mille you a lot on that. So I'd like to introduce Anne Marie Gauthier. She is incredibly accomplished. She is the CMO of one of the largest grocery store chains in France. She has done marketing and communication direction for Galeries Lafayette, for Bali. She is supremely accomplished, but the best part of her is her personality and her warmth. So I am thrilled to have her on today to talk about this because she was the creative inspiration behind Senior Bitches. Bonjour, Anne Marie. Bonjour.
Bonjour Marie-Jo, comment vas-tu?
Ah, je suis très bien. Et vous?
Génial, tout va bien. Écoute, Paris, c'est une catastrophe en ce moment avec les poubelles, avec les manifestations. Paris is a mess these days with the riots and the garbage all over the streets, but Paris is still Paris.
Paris is still Paris. You guys are you're having your time in the barrel right now for sure.
Oh my God.
For sure. Unlike the US, which is pristine and beautiful at the moment. I mean, the shit that's going down right now.
But Marie-Jo, what is super interesting, guess what is the key subject? Retirement.
I know.
Talk about the senior part of our lives.
Yes.
And so everybody's freaking out because
exactly
part of the population wants to go on retirement early, and then the government is saying no, you have to go on retirement later. So the big uproar is all about the retirement,
which is exactly the space that we're in. And I guess it was a vote of no confidence, but he got through it, so it's law now, right? So the retirement age is now 64.
Yep.
Okay.
Which one of the lowest of all Europe, because the Germans is 67, and all the other countries are way older.
Right. So that was a big, huge thing. So it all circles back to this conversation that we were having. And what I think is so fascinating about you is, do you remember how the conversation started when you were telling me about your new job? Do you remember how it started? Okay. Do you want to repeat the conversation? No, could you please repeatez-vous?
No, but what was funny, because okay, I just changed job. I'm 62 years old, and I was in a perfect job. I could have stayed there until retirement. And I had a hunter call me and say, okay, here's a new opportunity. The number one retailer in Europe has been in France forever, for 35 years, but haven't done any marketing, any advertising. It just started 2 or 3 years ago, but they really need to be a true marketing advertising brand. And so that's why we're looking for somebody that has the experience. And I said, okay, sounds super interesting. I love launching new brands. I love building brands. And even though I have this very comfortable job, I switched, and I was 62. And so people all around me said, are you fucking crazy? Sorry for the F word, but
please drop the F-bomb. It's my favorite fucking word. Go, motherfucker. Go. Keep going.
But are you crazy to change job? You're 62 years old, and you're going through the whole stress of trying to please everyone, trying to get to adapt to this new job situation. I said, yeah. And I took the challenge, and I'm so happy I did. And I don't have to prove anything. I've done it. I've proved that I'm a good expert. So now I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun into really understand the DNA of the brand, building a whole team, trying to reestablish the territory of that brand, and going through all the marketing basics. So it's love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And you're a senior executive, by the way. You're somebody who has a ton of experience, a ton of wisdom, a ton of perspective on the world. Like, you're the perfect person to be doing that job because of your years and your experience as a senior.
That's
Is that
right.
correct?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
But at the same time, a lot of people would refrain from the idea of hiring a 62 years old woman, thinking she's tired and she's not modern, she doesn't know about digital, and she was not born with the computers and this and that. Well, guess what? I mean, when you're a professional, you learn all that throughout the years. And of course, we know how to deal with digital and CRM and the metaverse and everything, of course.
Yeah, of course. And what was interesting about our conversation when you were telling me about Aldi and your job, you were telling me about this incredible marketing campaign that you're doing, which I just thought was just so fascinating and so on point and everything. And Aldi is a discount supermarket. So you were telling me about this great ad and that it was a discount supermarket. And I said to you, well, you're not going to possibly say discount in the ad. And you were like, what are you, crazy? That's what we are. That word, we can turn it on its head. It's a great thing. You save money. And then the shopping experience that you were providing in your marketing campaign was elevated and wonderful and magical. And that was, a kind of an impetus too for this Senior Bitches. It's like how we view the language. And you're truthful. This is my brand. This is my brand. And I'm going to take it to a different level. And I thought
Yeah,
that
and
was genius.
in France, nobody talks about discounters because they think it's shameful. But in reality, with the inflation, this is the best time to say we are a true discounter and we don't fake it. We are. And everybody's trying to push for discount prices, but the only discounter is us. So let's name what we are.
What a concept, Anne Marie, to name who we are and to actually own who we are. So when you brought that up and then circled it back to our age, to owning our age, we had such a deep discussion around age and all the frailties and vulnerabilities around it and all the experience that we're bringing to the table and how to elevate that part of our life. So I had a question for you because you're obviously accomplished and you're also a beautiful woman. So I'm gonna add one more thing. And funny, that's a trifecta. So was there ever a moment in your career or in your life, because I know you've been in fashion and all that stuff, where you ever had a moment where you were like, I need to come to terms with aging. There's a famous movie star who went into the bathroom apparently for 2 days and, negotiated with herself about aging and how to handle it. Did you ever have that moment where it converged, where it was like, I need to have a conversation with myself about this, or I'm not comfortable with this, or it's sort of coming up in my face? Did you ever have that experience?
Actually, no. I mean, the first time I started to realize I was aging is when everyone around me was talking about retirement. And, all along, I'm just like pushing and doing a whole bunch of new things and traveling and having fun and dating and falling in love. And not a second I thought I was a senior. And then I started to realize that not only was a senior, but I had to retire one of these days. Is when everyone around me was talking about retirement. I was not thinking 1 second about retiring. But at the same time, I knew I was, 60, 61, 62. But I'm just not putting myself into what I'm supposed to be at my age. I'm just moving along life and then embracing all those years of experience and then thinking, wow, this new chapter is super exciting. But I don't have to fall back in there and the cliche that at this age you're supposed to retire, take care of the kids and the cats and your garden. No.
Yeah, a lot of cats, a lot of gardening. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And certainly not dating and falling in love and being sexual and vital and all these things that we're sort of not given permission to do. Certainly not after 60, kind of 50. I think it's pushed a little bit, but when you start to get into this age range. And do you think that that's like a concept of aging that's more prevalent in Europe as opposed to the United States? There is such an incredible pressure here on appearance. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. You can imagine the atrocities I could see if I looked outside my window right now. Like you don't even recognize people anymore. They're so surgerized. So I'm wondering if that pressure is less. Did you ever feel that pressure?
Actually, in France, what you have is you have two movements. You have a movement of people, of women that totally accept the age they have and that they stand with the gray hair and the long gray hair and they don't want to do the makeup and all that, which is fine. I mean that's what they want to do. I have to say I like all those new tips and tricks about how to keep the freshness and the good looks. So I'm happy to cheat.
Yeah.
I'm happy to cheat with the hair extension and the Botox, but I don't do surgery, but I do all the other little easy tricks. And then I think what the real beauty trip or tip is all about the energy. If you have the energy, then that's what shines through your skin and through your hair and through everything.
Well, and I agree. And I think that comes from being authentic with who you are and owning your story. And I think so many times, especially women, betray themselves and don't take care of themselves and want to present a picture of who they are, and they're not really in touch with like the inner story. And that's why I think this whole thing about owning your age is essential, like owning your years. And listen, I find it challenging. I mean, I just spit out 60 on the first podcast. I just said my age on the first podcast, and my little Canadian producer was giving me a hard time because I'm dating a few people and they don't know my age. They don't. And he said, you should cough up your age as soon as you meet somebody. And I said, well, they just generally alluded to how old I might be. And I just shrugged.
No,
But when am I going to get to that point where I'm like, I'm 60. I'm trying.
I
I'm
think,
trying.
I get a lot of pride of saying my age now, because I say, guess what? I'm 62, and everybody's like, no. I said, yes. And I love the idea of saying I'm 62 years old, and I'm still working, having so much fun, traveling, meeting my friends, partying, and I love it.
Well, I know. I love that you came to Rome on a moment's notice. So you came to Rome and you bought your little bag. You just had like a skirt. I don't think you had anything else. Like you came with your purse on the plane and you were up for everything. We hit the streets. I know you're a bit mad at me that I made you walk like 20 miles per day. I know that that
Hello.
sort of impacted you for a little bit. But you're so chill that when we went out on Saturday night for dinner and that guy poured a whole bottle of wine down your back, you were like, you were good about it. I was ready to fight the guy at the next table, but you were like, you just go with the flow. You
And
just go
ordered
with the
another
flow.
bottle of wine, remember, right
Yeah,
away.
we did. We drank another bottle of wine. So basically, so that's inner work that you've been doing over the years, right? That you can enter this phase of your life and embrace it. That's how you've lived your life, that you can get into this phase of aging.
Yes. Well, I think what it is you learn to be more confident about who you are. I think throughout the years, you understand who you are and what you like and what you don't like, and you don't try to please anyone. You try to start really loving yourself, and because you love yourself, you can love the other people. And I think I guess this is the biggest journey I've been through, which is don't put yourself through stress and trying to please people. I mean, try to be the best you can and be true to yourself. So it's a journey about learning about yourself.
Yeah, it's an inside job.
Yeah.
It's an inside job. And there's such liberation at this age not to really give a shit what people think, to be true to yourself, to be authentic to yourself. And, that's a huge shift. I think it's really to not care about what other people think
That's
is,
the biggest shift. And that's why you get so much freedom. And that's why I think the, the senior years are the true freedom years. You know what you do, and you have the experience, and you don't have to please anyone. You're just true to yourself.
yeah, it's very liberating if you're at that point, but it's also scary. It's a scary transition to make for a lot of people. And that's why I want to open this conversation with all sorts of women about it, because there's some women who've gotten by on their looks their whole life, the academia. I've got, musicians coming on to talk about their career, and there's glass ceilings in their career that are difficult, especially as they age. So were you always comfortable in your own skin and with your age? Was that just something that was bred in the bone for you?
Well, I think I was lucky enough to be born in a family of only boys, five
Yeah.
brothers. And on top of it, my mom was American. I'm French. So my mom was
Are
American.
you?
American
Really? Okay, go on.
from Texas, and she was feminist, and she's the one who taught me to fight and to believe in myself and to be confident. And so I had, you know, the challenge of being the oldest of all my brothers, and I have only boy cousins. And so I learned very, very young to stand for myself and to stand for my ideas. Thanks to my mom, thanks to my family environment. and that really helped me throughout life.
Yeah. And are other women of great support to you? Do you find women very supportive
Yeah,
or
yeah. I think, and because maybe it's because I like to go meet interesting women and people that traveled and that are very open minded. So all my friends that are girls are super travelers, super businesswomen, not just business but entrepreneurial, passionate women, and they're free. They're free in their mind, and they've been always super supportive of me and with all my changes in life and all my marriage and my divorces and all that. We are living humans and we have different chapters and there's no good or bad. We're just moving along.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked about this in Rome too, our marriages and our divorces. I've only had one, but it feels like a million that have like been encapsulated in my one marriage and one divorce. And I know that you've had a few, and we talked about some of the pain and struggle that went along with that because it has not been an easy road for you. And now you're at this point in your life where you're in a relationship and you're in love. And so what does that feel like? Tell me. I want to live off every word. Like, is it different? It like how does it feel? We were talking about it and you were just telling me a bit about your trajectory after the last few years. And without going into details, what I love is that you're living as a fully fun, sexual, sensual, like adventuresome woman at this point in life. And by the way, a lot of women aren't. So I just think that that is so inspirational with a big smile on your face. So now that you're in a relationship at this age, how is it different? Like, do you feel different? Like, are your requirements different or what's it like? I'm going to take notes. Look, I've got my pen. Go. I'm
No,
ready.
okay, so now I'm back into a teenager uh, lifestyle.
Oh,
Instead of
oh,
the butterflies and everything. No, it's great. You still into the seduction, but at the same time you're more truthful because you tell the truth. You say that I don't want to go in a relationship just to sleep. I want to really build something, and we realize we're not going to have kids. Obviously, I'm 60 years, 62, and he's 63. But we're talking about having grandchildren. So it's funny, being in a couple and saying, okay, we're not going to have kids, we're going to have grandchildren, you know. And
right.
and at the same time, we both are involved in jobs, but then we need to think of the after job chapter, which is okay. He has a house in Brittany, I have a house in Normandy, we have an apartment. We both have an apartment in Paris. At one point, we're thinking, okay, shouldn't we live together? And then if we live together, shouldn't we get married? And so we're going through the whole thing again, just like if we were 20 years old, except that we're not going to have kids. We're just going to have a grandkids, and then go through the new discovering of this new life.
I love it. You're like teenagers. You probably make out a lot and stuff like that. I love that.
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
we kiss all the time.
and hold hands and PDAs, stuff like that, that would drive me crazy. No, I would love to see that with you. But like that whole, isn't it funny? Like it's kind of reverting back because I think in our 30s and 40s and 50s, maybe we get a little tough and we're not as
No, no, I'm a
we're,
teenager. We send the hearts and everything. No, we do the whole
the
thing.
heart emojis.
Oh, of
I
course.
love it. I love it. So I'm saying sort of midlife, we're guarded, right? Like we're a little like, we want our autonomy and we don't want to seem like too vulnerable. But I love for me that I can take this from you, that going into a phase like that, where it does feel like young love, like, starting again, like having that experience,
Yep.
is incredible. And having a partnership. We were talking too about moving in together. That's a huge commitment. And then I love the fact that you're open to marriage. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. Well, in France we say fleur bleue, which is blue flower. So that means you're romantic. And I do believe in love, and if I'm gonna be in love, I might as well be married and have this true engagement. So yes, I want to go through the my third marriage.
Can I come to the wedding?
Of course, honey.
I hope I have a date at that point. Give me like a year or two notice so I can like bring somebody. Actually, I'm dating a few people now. You'd be really proud of me.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
you got to tell me all about it.
Yeah. I'm dating two or three. One is 12 years younger. He doesn't know my age yet. So I'm going to spit that out shortly,
You
not
have to.
presently. I know. I'm gonna have to spit it out. I love that. So I love all this stuff that, and I do sort of think that after 55, there's an innocence that comes, even though we have so much wisdom, there's a vulnerability in that age range because a lot of things are going to change. I still have both my parents at the moment, but there's a lot of changes that are going to come that are really bittersweet. And then it's sort of like a re-engagement with life. I think it's a really, really special time period. So what do you think is the beauty of aging for you? What has been, I mean, it sounds like you've got a good long list, but where's the beauty in aging?
Well, I think the beauty in aging is this learning to be confident, to have this confidence of who you are and what you want, what you like, what you don't like, and being able to express who you are and not cheating. I mean, and you don't need to cheat anymore because you don't need to prove to anyone anything. And the only person you need to convince is yourself. So, I mean, once you've done that job, then you can move along in life. And I think the other beauty is try to give good around you. When I say good, make people around you happy. There's no reason to be a bitch, to be aggressive. Again, you don't have to squash other people to exist. You can exist by your own self.
That is so part of the culture, though, especially the North American culture. You divide and conquer, you squash to get ahead. And I really feel like the culture of women is a bit like that here. It's really competitive. It's not supportive. I mean, my friends are, but there is that type of like, just get out of my way. And failing to recognize that the energy you surround yourself with, that's like quantum physics, right? Like the energy that emanates in a room is going to create the environment that you want. Like that's essential.
Yeah,
That's
because
absolutely essential.
if you're being aggressive, you're taking a lot of energy from you. It's not good. You
No,
know, so
no.
no, I don't want to. I definitely don't want to get into fight. I don't want to get into this aggressiveness. I don't want to take so much energy out of me.
So what would you tell your younger self at 62? What would you look back and tell yourself at this point in your life?
Well, I think if I was talking to myself when I was younger, I would have said, don't be so obsessed about what people think about you. I think you learn that with the age, but if I can give an advice to the younger crowd is, think about yourself, think about improving yourself, but don't be so stigmatized and obsessed about what people are talking, what they're saying. I mean, you're not going to please everyone. So, I mean, just let's accept that you can't please everyone. Start with yourself and then move on.
Yeah, that's a big lesson to learn. That's the hardest lesson to learn. Um, do you feel in some ways the best is yet to come, or do you appreciate all of it? The good, bad, the indifferent. I'm reading this book, I've read it a million times, by Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, which I love. And and books around that, which is like every monster that exists in us, every glorious moment, every horrible moment, everything, that's shameful. We sort of have to dig deep and, it was painful going in. It's going to be painful going out. We have to own it all. And once we can start owning our narrative, that seems to be where the sweet spot happens, I think. And that's, I think, got to do with aging. I think a lot of it's got to do with aging.
Absolutely. And when I look at my past and in my future, I'm super happy of some of the wonderful things I've done in my life, and I'm at the same time super looking forward to what's going to happen because I think it's going to be exciting to get into this new chapter with okay, you're going to have more time for yourself because you're not going to be working as much, but then at the same time you don't want to go into gardening or just taking care of the cats. So you,
Do you
you
have cats? Do you have cats?
I love cats, but I don't want to be just dealing with cats. That's not enough in my life.
I like cats. I'm surprised I like cats now.
I love them. but at the same time, I want to be traveling. It's changing my house. And by the way, if you know somebody who wants to exchange my beautiful house in Normandy and my apartment in Paris for a house in Carmel in the California, I'm ready. So this is what I'm looking for, is to live different lives in different countries with exchanging my house, because I have all this free time now.
And a boyfriend, I might
And
add.
boyfriend to do it. Well, even though he's a little bit more house, he doesn't want to move as much. He doesn't want to travel as much. So I'm gonna have to push him that way.
So this is like not a negative question, but it's sort of like the sorrow in aging. Is there sorrow? I mean, I think there's sorrow in life, but is there sorrow in aging?
Well, I think the only thing that bothers me is the fact that as you age, you're not gonna be. I mean, you're gonna, talking about our experience in Rome. We're walking for 20
I
kilometers.
know.
For the following 2 weeks, stress, broken bone. So I'm like, geez,
You broke a bone?
no, a stress.
Oh, stress fracture. I'm sorry. I'm such a frenetic
Your
walker.
fault.
That was my fault. Did you blame me a little for that? I'm sorry.
Completely. But anyway, it just shows you, okay, we are more fragile. So we're gonna go into. I know we're gonna go into this aging body who can't run as much, can't walk as much, and will have a harder time to move. And that's the only thing I'm not looking forward.
Well, I apologize. Okay, that I pushed you. I know I did. I had you at the Borghese Gardens, the Pantheon, Plaza Nirvana. We hit everything. I think the father of the Alterland, the Jewish ghetto. I pushed you.
But I didn't have the walking shoes. So here I was trying to be fashionable with my boots, my Parisian boots, and that was definitely not the right boots for walking.
Well, you look super, super cute. And I absolutely loved our time together, and I can't wait to come visit and see you. And I'm so grateful that you joined me for half an hour to chat about all this stuff. And it was really so pivotal having that time with you in Rome, because you just put a whole different slant on everything. And, the senior bitches, I know you wanted to call it senior grammar, but I'm a bit cheeky. So I went with senior bitches, but I love it. And all the women that I'm going to get to talk to about aging, and it really shifted the dialogue for me. So I have to say merci beaucoup for that. It was very special to have that time with you and to see somebody so engaged in life. It was really inspirational. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mary Jo. Life is about sharing, and so I was very happy to share this moment in our lives and bring some inspiration for all the women around us.
Well, we're going to take it and we're going to use it. And I'm just so thrilled for you. And I'm so motivated now to open myself up to a healthy, wonderful relationship where I actually say, okay, I'm 60. I'm going to do that. That's my next step.
And I want to see the face of the boyfriend 12 years younger, to see him freak out or not.
I'll let you know. I will let you know. But thank you so much for joining us today on Senior Bitches. It's been an absolute, utter pleasure. Anne Marie is my first guest, clearly wonderful. So bon chance, bon everything. And what's it called? Bisous? What's kisses? Kisses and hugs.
Bisous, je vous embrasse.
Right back at you. So thank you so much for joining me today. And thanks so much for joining us today on this episode of Senior Bitches. Ciao. Au revoir.
Well, au revoir. Thank you so much. And welcome to all the future senior bitches.
Senior beaches. It's so super cute. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao.